Good morning everybody, we're back in the Loire on our morning walk and this morning it's 10 degrees but it's due to be 23 today and very grey look, very grey. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, thank you to all the people that have sent lovely messages and interesting reflections from their various countries about how everybody's dealing with the virus and its fallout. And I think today it's the fallout and why, the whys, the wherefores. Now, it may be very simple terms, because I'm not a finance person, I'm not a banker or a stock market trader or anything like that. But it's just an observation, and it's probably too simplified. But if, when everything started to close down in March, here in France, everything closed down. The restaurant closed, midnight, everything had to close. I couldn't really get my head around the fact that everything was imploding. And I thought, well, why doesn't everybody just stop still? Don't operate, don't function. Not everybody, obviously we need supermarkets and so on and so on. But the majority, why doesn't the government say, okay, we are suspending all payments of rental. So for example, you have a restaurant, you have a bar, you have a building, you have a workshop, you have a whatever it is, mortgages, everything. Mortgages, the banks should have been enforced to suspend all those payments. And it would have been as if everybody would have been on an enforced, 2-month break. So there would have been no income, but there would have also been no expenditure. And everybody would have been in the same position. Now, maybe this is too simple, and somebody's probably going to correct me. But if everybody had those debts temporarily suspended, and I don't mean to push them forward so that you have to pay them all again in 6 months' time or when your business reopens or whatever, but to literally just to say to everybody, because majority of the property on the high street in the UK, I don't know about everywhere else, the majority of the big shops, the big developments, even the high street shops where you all live, in the towns that you all live, they're all owned by insurance companies, banks and financial institutions or large property companies. Now, I'm sorry, but property companies and banks and insurance people and all the rest of it, if they can't afford to survive for 3 months without any income, then they're not doing their job properly. The problem here is that everybody's businesses, all the self-employed, which has a knock-on effect to all the people that are employed. When we talk about this furloughing, whatever you call it in England, we call it chômage partiel or chômage technique. So all of that has got to come from somewhere, and at the moment everybody's income is stopped, it's at zero. I'm talking broadly speaking here, and yet the outgoings are still there. So how can that possibly be? How can that possibly be that you still have to pay your 20, 50, £100,000 annual rent for your property or your restaurant or your garage or whatever it is, and yet you have no income coming in because the government has told you all to stay at home? So this kind of brings me onto a subject that is really quite close to my heart, because I really wish that my generation at least had been properly educated about money and properly educated about how to run a budget, a household, how to purchase a home, what is a mortgage, what is an APR, Hello Melbourne, Australia. Wow. Hello Denise, good morning. I'm glad you're enjoying. No, but so today I want to talk about sort of this lack of information and education about the things that my generation especially needed to know and were not told. And it was only the upper classes, the private school pupils who had any sort of financial education, as if they are the only ones that need to know. So I remember when I left school, I'm 53, no hiding that, especially today with the lack of makeup and the hair that looks like the wreck of the Hesperus. I actually went to school in a generation where the first credit card came out, and that credit card was called Access. Access, your flexible friend. And you take this card and you go into a shop and you want to buy something and you just hand this card over. And in those days they would put it in this machine on a piece of paper and make a swipe imprint of your card, and you would sign it and they would sign it, which to anyone younger than myself, that will seem really alien, that we actually operated our financial system using this kind of piece of paper and a sort of an old-fashioned press imprintation where you just kept a copy and they kept a copy. Oh God, it's a bit wet down here. So yeah, and so today we're in this system where we have an almost cashless society. I have not had any cash in my pocket since March. I have not a penny, not a centime, not a euro. I probably have €1 for the supermarket trolley. And we're living in this kind of some contact, no contact, contactless society. This virtual checkbook, this virtual wallet, if you like. And so what happened? We had the Second World War. NAPO, don't knock me over. So we had the Second World War. My grandparents were in the Second World War. My dad was born at the beginning in the 30s. My granddad was born in 1905. And my dad, I wish I'd listened to my dad more, because I didn't want to be told. I didn't want to be told. I was a grown-up. I wanted to be doing my own thing. And he always used to say, oh, cash is king, you know, never have any debts, never owe anybody any money, never owe the bank any money. But I could see all around me, my peer group, you know, with the new clothes and gradually getting records. They were buying records. I didn't have any pocket money. So I didn't have any money when I was a kid. And I didn't really have access to any money, and nobody taught me about it. And so when I got older, I was like a kid in a sweet shop. You know, it's a bit like the kid where the parents say, don't do this, don't touch that, and then when they get the chance to do it on their own, they just do everything and go completely wild. So today, what we're seeing is a couple of generations down the line, we're seeing people who have absolutely no financial wherewithal at all. They think that what they earn every month is there to spend. It's there to spend. And most people can't even get through the month without spending everything they've got in their purse or their bank or on their card. And probably the majority of people now are in a negative equity situation where they have more money going out than they have coming in. So I am an expert on this, okay? I can tell you, because I've been there and I've made those bad choices. Buying a car, I don't know, £50,000-60,000 car, dollar car, whatever your currency is, buying that car, you don't have $60,000 or pounds. You don't have that money. But if it's only going to cost you 200 a month over 8 years, you go, yeah, I can afford it. I can afford it. It's fine. I'll take that, and I'll take all the extras on it as well, and that's only another 20 a month. But they don't realise that there's interest to be paid. You know, it's a bit like the loan shark you see on these, you know, drama series where the loan shark comes up and beats them to a pulp because they haven't paid for their drugs or whatever it is. It's exactly the same thing, except it's legal. And the banks and the institutions and the financial people are all sending out, in times of extreme pressure financially, have another credit card, extend your loan, let's put your interest rate up, let's put your lending, whatever it is, down, we'll give you an extra 1,000 a month or whatever on your limit. I haven't had a credit card for years. And then, so you go out and spend it, and you think, oh, I'll take my kids to Disney World. Yeah, whatever, £6,000, yeah, okay. Well, if we put that on the card, that'll cost us, you know, a couple of £100 a month. So instead of paying a deposit, we'll just buy it on the credit card. But what they don't realise is at the end of the term, whenever they finally agree or can afford to pay that off, that £6,000 holiday has turned into a £10,000 holiday and more. So if you teach your kids anything in this lockdown, there are two subjects that the education departments have totally failed on. And they failed on them for like the last 40 years. One is home economics, and two is money. How are you equipped to go out into the world and to negotiate a salary or buy a house or get married or run a budget or have kids? God, having kids, has anybody who has children, and I don't know because I don't have any, but has anybody, when they went to have that child, did they actually sit down and do, I don't know, a spreadsheet or a calculation of how much that child would cost to bring up, in nappies, in food, in piano lessons, in dancing tutus, in, you know, football boots, in whatever? Has anybody done that exercise? Because if they did, they would see that most people do not have the money to have any children, because they can't even feed themselves. They can't even run themselves. Today, if you have zero debt, and I mean zero debt, no house mortgage, no car payment, no HP, no credit card, no store card, no nothing, you are one lucky person. Now, I am now that lucky person, because I have chosen, well, no, I had it forced upon me. I definitely had it forced upon me, but I had to make some really tough decisions. It was sort of like either go bankrupt or just get rid of everything and live with nothing. So when I had that situation, I thought it was the end of the world. And you know what? Now I couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be more grateful because Napo, come here. Because, sorry, our neighbours. Just let me, Napo, it's Sebastian, hang on. Just let's turn you around. I can't do it now. Come on, Naps. Napo, come on. Let Sebastian go home. Come on. Salut. Bonjour. Allez, Napo. Yeah, sorry. I just got my dog back. I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, so I could not actually be more happy with my financial trauma and enforced, if you like, poverty, because it made me realise that I am the most well equipped to deal with this backlash. Go on, don't you chase after him, Ali. because I don't have a mortgage payment, I don't have a car payment, I don't owe anybody one single penny, and I can afford to live on a very small budget because my needs are a lot less than my wants, if that makes sense. So before, my wants were greater than my needs, and like all of us, I guess, you know, when the latest TV comes out, you want the TV that does the surround sound stereo system and it's on special offer, and you want to buy the bug off deal, buy one get one free. The one is never free. The other thing that I always used to really listen to was my granny, who used to say, buy cheap, you buy twice. And it has never been more evident than now. Because when we didn't have a lot, we cut our cloth, as we say. We needed an umbrella for the garden last season because it was really hot. It was like 35 degrees all summer. And we had the maison d'hôte, so we had people starting to come, so we were trying to invest everything we had in making it more beautiful. And so we bought this fantastic umbrella, which looked amazing. And it was on special offer in the garden centre, and there was only 2 left, so we thought, oh, we better have it. 12 months on, it's broken. The fabric isn't very good. It looked great when we bought it. The metal supports aren't very strong. They looked great when we bought them. And so my granny's adage of buy cheap, you buy twice has never been more true. Everything that happens like that has happened like that. So now we decided that we would invest in, say for example, we needed a new tumble dryer. We could have bought a tumble dryer for 300 quid. Or 300 euros or whatever. But we decided to wait and buy one for 700 because it's got a heat pump and it's A++ electricity. And we're thinking of the years to come when we're retired and we don't want any big bills coming in and we want to reduce our consumption of energy. And so that's the best thing we bought. Same with the washing machine and same with the fridge. But when I first got married 30-something years ago, 32 years ago, I remember I had a good job, he had a good job, we had a great monthly income, we had no kids, we were the original dinkies, double income, no kids yet, lived outside London. Life was great, we had plenty of money, we could go out on the weekends and dinners in restaurants, and if we wanted something we didn't really bother, we just picked it up and took it to the till and bought it with our flexible friend. And now that's all changed because we're actually evaluating what we spend our money on, and it's just it's a really interesting thing. I was watching the documentary, for those of you in the UK, there was a documentary on the coronavirus diaries. Oh my God, my hair is absolutely awful. I do apologise. I am going to wear a hat tomorrow. Yeah, the coronavirus lockdown diaries. And there was this really diverse group of people going through what we're all going through today. And there was a couple who'd set up a supermarket in a campsite in Devon. And you felt for them. 17 years they've been in business. Their business has been decimated overnight because that 150, 200 caravans are no longer there. Nobody's shopping in their supermarket. So they start delivering, and they start delivering for the community and doing good things for the community, but it's not making them any money. It's not helping them to pay the rent or the bills. And that was really hard to watch them fighting and arguing, and everything was going pear-shaped for them at one point, and I was getting really sad, and I just thought, money is the root of all evil. Money really is the root of all evil. if you've got it, you want more of it. If you don't have it, you're stressed because you can't do what other people are doing. And if you've got none at all, and you don't even have a roof over your head, and you can't feed yourself, then, you know, Jesus, what would you do? You just have to rely on, I don't know, it's very trite to say it, but a miracle. And so poverty is all relative. You know, absolutely, I am rich. I have running water, I have toilets, I have food, I have a roof, I have a beautiful dog, I have a lovely man at home doing my bricolage, I have a magnificent park. I am not poor, and yet I only have a budget of €125 per week per person to live on. Is that a hardship? No, it isn't, because I've spent quite a long time learning that that is the way to be. And I wish, I have one regret. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we should never have regrets. But I do have one regret, that I wish I hadn't rebelled against my father's financial teachings. But I guess it was because I was an angry teenager. Not verbally angry and not outwardly angry, but guess I was quite inwardly angry. I remember going to town with my friends. I would have been about, I don't know, 15, and my mum had said, okay, you can go into town with your friends on the bus, which I did, and everybody wanted to go for fish and chips. We lived in a seaside town in Yorkshire, and everybody wanted to go for fish and chips because it was our half-day study afternoon, whatever you call it now. And I didn't have any money, so I went to my dad's shop, and he was sat behind the counter with his suit on and his handkerchief out of his top pocket, and very smart. And my dad was always beautifully smart. And I was like Oliver Twist, and I said, please Dad, I haven't got any money, could I have some money for fish and chips? And my dad gave me £1. He had a £5, a £10 and a £1 note, because at that time it was pound notes. And he chose not to give me the £5 note. He gave me the £1, and I daren't ask for any more. So I ended up eating the chips, and my friends were eating the fish and chips. And I always felt different. I never asked since that day, I've never asked my parents for, my dad anyway, for a penny, because it was so humiliating. But then, as I've got older, I've looked at that and thought, hang on a minute, my dad was working really hard to make his fortune, and he didn't see the necessity in making it easy for me. And that's what's happening today. Parents are enabling debt for the next generation. They're enabling their kids. And I think we think today that experiences make us happy. A day at the races, a trip to Paris for the weekend with our girlfriends, going to Ibiza, I don't know, whatever it might be. Going to a football match. A football match, my God, nowadays that's like, I don't know, 40, 50 quid a ticket. Plus your sandwich or your drink or whatever, like your petrol, your parking. I mean, you know, God, it's out of the reach of most people. So we are using these experiences to create memories. And creating memories we think is going to make us feel happy. And I think now, all of you guys at home watching from your living rooms, having done your PE this morning or whatever, You're making the most amazing memories with your kids for free. Napo, come here. Come on, sweetheart. You're making the most amazing memories for nothing, or for peanuts, you know. You're drawing pictures with your kids. You're singing with your kids. You're doing jigsaws and playing games instead of praying and hoping that your kids are not hanging about on a street corner outside, or, you know, they can't be out with their friends in inverted commas, and you're not losing them totally to social media because you can't have a relationship with them anymore, because it's very, very easy to be seduced. And so back to the original topic, was the most important thing about government now, education, is to teach people. And I don't think governments ever wanted to teach people how to manage money, because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. If you know how to do something, you don't need to ask someone else. You don't need to pay someone else. You don't need to rely on someone else. So why would governments want to teach the bottom 2/3 of the population? I'm talking splitting private education and public education. And I don't know what the figures are, but okay, let's say that private education is 1/3 of the number of students, if you like. And in private education, it's assumed that those children are going to go on to be in leadership roles, or, you know, most of them in having the chance to go into high level management, whether it be working in stores, in banks, being self-employed, entrepreneurs, working for the government, whatever it is. And it's about who's capable to lead. That's a big question. It's a big question. Nobody likes the boss. You're not meant to like the boss. The boss makes tough decisions. The boss has to think about the general well-being of the business, not just about whether you're unhappy that you haven't got the right day off next week, or you need a pay rise but the business can't take a pay rise. So no one really ever likes the boss. I respect I have respected in my life. I've had to respect my bosses when I've had them, because I have been self-employed as well. And when I was self-employed, I always said to myself, I will never treat my staff the way other people treat theirs, or the way my managers have treated me over the years. And I worked for a very big company, a retail company in the UK years ago when I did my management training. And the most important skills to learn in life are humanitarian skills, they're man management skills, empathic skills. You know, if you have to rule by fear, you're not a ruler. And I think the problem we have now is that all these big world leaders, the ones that are experiencing problems, are the ones who are like on a roller coaster and the brakes just failed. So they're going so fast, they don't know how to handle the speed or the velocity of the actual thing, and they're actually running scared. They're not leading, they're reacting. And I heard an interesting thing the other day, and I don't want to get political really, and I'm not criticising as such, because I just think it's too negative. But I did hear an interesting thing the other day that said nobody could remember the last president in our lifetime, the last president of the USA who had been in active service in the military. Now, it just sprang to mind the other day when I was watching those great guys in Scarborough, Captain Tony Viney and John Senior. I'm sorry, Tony, I think you're a major. I might have made a faux pas. But anyway, how you mobilised, how you got those people together, how you started making visors in someone's office down on the seafront because you can't open for the tourists because there aren't any. What are you doing? Instead of trying to figure out how to grow your own empire, you're trying to save people's lives. And you're mobilising because you're taught to mobilise. And the problem we've got is that politicians are never taught those skills. And why would you ever want a leader who didn't have those skills? And it's very interesting, isn't it? The last great leader of our time was Winston Churchill in the UK for us guys, I'm sure. Oh, that's obviously a matter of opinion, but you know, watch all the biopics and the films about him, and he was a great leader because he understood what needed to be done in times of crisis. And so, just to finish off today, for any of you out there that are teachers or in education or who have kids or grandchildren or nieces or nephews, I implore you, teach your kids to cook and teach your kids to be financially savvy, because our generation are screwed, but it's not too late for the next generation. After the Great Depression, after the Second World War, after the potato famine, after all these terrible natural tragedies that we've had to endure, our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents, my great-grandparents worked in the mill towns in between Yorkshire and Lancashire, and there was great poverty 2 or 3 generations ago, and they were carders in the mill doing the lowest of the low jobs. The children were 12 years old and working in the mill on the floor picking up the flack. And but they were proud people, and each generation became stronger financially than the last. And this isn't going to be cured overnight. But, you know, their parents would have lent them money that they had saved in order for them to buy their house, and so on, until the rise of the mortgage, the banks, the interest, the credit card boom. And I would say you're sort of talking from the 80s onwards. In the 70s, you know, a house cost £6,000. An average terrace house was about 600. You know, these sort of figures are absolutely ridiculous, because what we're doing is we're using people today using their house as their cash machine. They're using their house as a cash machine. Oh, we need some credit, so we'll borrow against our house. Oh, we need to go, oh, we've got a great idea, we're going to go on holiday, but we need 10 grand, so we'll do a loan. So we're using our property as our cash machines, and yet our ancestors, that was what they worked for and saved for, and they had very, very few aspirations apart from to own their own home. So we're going to all learn financially something out of this crisis, I reckon. And I really hope everybody gets through it. And I think that the people who have little will survive a lot better than the people that have a lot. Because the people that have little are used to having little. And the people that have a lot are going to have all sorts of privileges taken away from them. They're going to watch their income trickling away. Everything's going to be worth less. And, you know, they've still got all those payments to make. So the moral of today's walk, guys, is stay safe, but teach your kids. Teach your kids how to manage money. Empower your kids. Because you don't want anybody in government or, you know, bosses or wherever they go in their lives, you don't want anybody to know more than them. Why should you? Give them the tools, show them how to do it, and set them off on the right path. And please God, they don't end up like the kids of the 80s, because that was just a recipe for disaster. It was like the devil in disguise. I mean, people are even saying now that they were getting credit card applications for 6-month-old babies. What is wrong with society? And that's telling you that the rich get rich and the poor get poorer. And so now this is our opportunity to regroup and to think how we can reverse that situation and do better, and you know, live with less, appreciate more, and just go through life being grateful to be alive, but you can still have joy in everything that's around you. It doesn't have to have a price ticket on it. So that's today's walk. I'm sorry I've got a bit maudlin, I suppose. Not maudlin, but a little bit dictatorial, not being dictatorial. I'm trying to educate myself. I'm trying to find out what's true, what's not true. Napo, come and see everybody. Napo. And now I've got to find my dog. So let's turn him round because everybody wants to see Napo. I know, I'm sorry everybody, you haven't seen him this morning. How do I turn that around? Where is the turn around? Napo! Napo! Woo! I'm just going to put my hand on the microphone. Napo! Come on! Woo! Napo! Woo! Napo! Napoleon! Yana! Woo! Napo! He's going off on his own sweet way. He's desperate to go down that road, and I do not want to go down that road. Come on, Naps! Come on! He'll come and follow me in a minute. Let's see if I can turn you around, see if we can catch sight of him. Napo! Come on! Here he is, he's coming running through. It's like Little House on the Prairie. He's coming running through the grass. Can't find the thing to turn you around this morning. Something's gone awry. Come on, Napo! Little House on the Prairie. Come on! He's got tired now, he's just coming to a trot. Come on, everybody wants to say goodbye. Come on, off you go. So it's been a fun morning. It's very clammy. Woo, it's very weird. I actually put a scarf on this morning, and what I should have probably done is just covered up my hair, which is absolutely grotesque. I said last night, I mean, my hair grows so well. I'm so lucky, because some people have thin hair and there's nothing worse. But my hair just grows and grows. It's like a Barbie doll. Press the button on the back and the hair comes out. So I am very lucky, but it's getting really annoying now. Where's Napo? Here he is! Way! Now then, I told you not to go down that way. Everybody wants to say hello. Are you all sweaty now? Can you see him, everybody? I can't see a thing here. Can't turn you round. There you go. Come on, Naps. Say hello, look. Here. Napo, look. Hello. Hello, gorgeous. So thanks for joining us on the walk today. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I'm on the homeward straight, running out of battery. God, it's amazing, isn't it? Talked so much, I've even run the battery out. So have a good day wherever you are. Stay safe. Think about what I said. Just love each other, but think about your kids and think about what's good to teach them. It's fine to teach them about algorithms and whatever and trigonometry and geography, but for God's sake, teach them how to cook and teach them how to manage their own finances. And with that, I'm off. See you later, everybody. Napo, say goodbye. Oh, we can't see everybody. The battery's going. Bye, folks. See you again soon.